So today we're painting the flesh on these 4 figures. I have sped this video up, as you can see. The first colour I'm using is a flesh base. When you first start using this technique, just paint the whole of the face and the whole of the hands. But as you get more experienced, you can leave the deepest part of the eye socket, and you can leave a line for the mouth, and you can even leave some of the lines in between the fingers if you want to, but it's only so that when you're using it for tabletop figures, the contrast is a lot more, so it shows up a lot better on the tabletop. But as you can see, I was just using the base on all 4 figures. I like to batch paint actually in between 15 and 20 figures really, but for this example I've just used 4. The only difference from my normal day-to-day is that when I do the wash, it would normally have dried on the first figure. So this is the first of the proper flesh colours really. It's a tanned flesh, so it's a darker coloured flesh. This time you're trying to add a bit of detail to the figure, so depending on how experienced you are, how accurate you are with your paintbrush, it depends on how much detail you try and add in. Initially just paint all the areas and leave the eye sockets and the ears and the mouth, but as you get more experienced you can leave sections of the undercoat showing, which gives you the definition on the face. I tend to do effectively a donut around the mouth, with the lower lip being a separate line. I leave the eye sockets fully covered, and I just try and put a line underneath which would simulate the lower eyelid. The more you practice, the better you'll get at this. It is a technique that takes a lot of practice. But once you've added this flesh tone, it's time to get the wash out. Currently I'm using this Games Workshop wash. Just be careful you don't knock your pot over. So I'll move mine out of the way. And this is applied with quite a small brush, but I keep these brushes specifically for washes. They're old brushes. But if you use a smaller brush you can be a little bit more accurate. So while this wash is drying, I'll just show you how I practice. I keep all the heads from any kits I build, so 40k or historical, and I practice on those. So when the wash is dry, we move on to a basic flesh colour. So this is actually an Army Painter Barbarian flesh. You're painting almost the same as you did with the tan flesh, but you leave areas of the tan flesh as shadow. Again, it's something you'll get better at the more you do. You just need to keep practicing on this. Look at pictures online. You can even look at artwork to see where the highlights effectively are on these figures. Now when you finish this step, you could quite happily call it done. This will be fine for a tabletop, and it'll impress a lot of your friends. But I like to take it a little bit further. I think just that little step further really gives it a wow factor. So I like to paint the lower lip. I use a scab red effectively, add a bit of the base flesh to make it rose coloured, and just paint the bottom lip. Dead simple, but it's quite effective. And now we're on to the final highlight. This is an elf flesh, so it's a very light flesh, and you literally just put in dots on what would be the knuckles. You put a dot on the tip of the nose. If you're feeling really adventurous, you can put a dot on the end of the nose and one either side to simulate the nostrils, and then you put in something on the brow, a line underneath the eye socket, and your chin and your upper lip. Again, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you'll get. This video has been sped up 4 times, so don't expect to do it as quick as I have.